Ladies and gentlemen, hope everyone is alright wherever you are. I'm right here with the champion Muzi Maluleke, as you can see, the pro. Just after his Indian show, that's all we saw. And I had a few people requesting to hear from the champ himself. So yes, I have the champ here. He's going to introduce himself, even though you know him already. And then he's going to give us a breakdown a bit of his journey of bodybuilding, from the time he started and so forth, here and there. So champ, here you are, the viewers are watching. A lot have been eager to hear from you. So please just introduce yourself, even though they know you.
Hi guys, it's your boy Muzi Monster right here. I would like to send a big shout out to each and every one of you that's following my journey, as well as that's on the Bodybuilding Mountain page. So with that being said, most of y'all have seen, I've played second in India, which was my second pro show, and the journey continues, Looking back, I started this journey 2008 to be precise, back door, like any other kid in Soweto. I used to train backyard, and then from there onwards, however, started really competing in the ifbb amateur shows, novice, what was called novice back then, in 2011. So 2011 all the way till 2013, it was my junior years, and during those junior years, I've won 2 ifbb SA champs as a junior, and I've won 1 WPBF SA champ as a junior, and I've been to world champs. My best that I've done at world champs was 7th, and from there onwards, I was privileged enough to meet Federico in 2013 back in PE when I had a terrible incident that I couldn't complete the show. So ever since then, since 2013, I've been working with the old man, and we did our first show 2014 still as juniors. I won juniors overall, and I took SA champs overall as a junior, and then we went on to do my first senior shows 2015, where we took our 2 overalls for H&H as well as the provincials, and however at SA champs was disqualified, and it was one of those moments that was a turning point that if I really want to take this further, I need to really move to NPC. So 2016 I took a year off, 2017 I came back, I won Arnold Classic under 85, and then 2018 I did my first pro qualifier in Italy, where I came second. So the journey continued to 2019, where I went to South Korea, I won my division, and then I was awarded the pro card. Thereafter, I didn't have the privilege of competing in 2020 because of COVID, and then as well as in 2021. So I was back on stage 2022, did my first pro show in Brazil, where I came second, and then India was my second pro show, which another second place. So with that being said, I think for me, bodybuilding has been a tool for me to basically, inspire other kids that don't really necessarily have talent, because of in bodybuilding there's a casual relationship between hard work and results. The more you put in the work, you get the results, So it's one sport where I feel in control, because of it's quite simple in the sense that you have to basically out-discipline everyone, out-train everyone, So if you can do those 2 main things, then you you have the most chance of winning. So with that being said, as you have always seen, my main motto is aspire to inspire the people, and we just keep going with this, So I'm right here with Tabo, and I'm quite honored and privileged to be given such a platform to actually, pour my heart out there for the people that love the sport.
Wow, interesting. This is quite an interesting journey, champ. I've personally followed you from way back. You are younger than me by years. But I mean, look at you, you're a pro and all that. And, it's been a journey from way back when you were so young and small at the time.
Yeah.
At that time when you were developing, we've got some development athletes that are going to be watching this. Can you please give them some bit of advice from the time you started, how you started, how it went through until now, how you managed to maneuver through?
Yeah, so in 2008, like I said, I was training backyard like everyone else, you know. I remember doing my first local show in Jabulani Mall. And when I got to the show, you know, people were thinking I came to do aerobics. That's how tiny I was, you know.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
You didn't have this size at that time. I remember that.
So I think, you know, if there's one thing that has helped me a lot as a bodybuilder is that I've been consistent, you know, in the sense that I'm not just a bodybuilder when I'm prepping. I'm a bodybuilder, you know, 24/7. In the sense that my coach always told me one thing, you know, is that a person who's at sea, you know, it doesn't care, like he doesn't care about whether it's Monday or Sunday, you know, it's just another day. So if it's just another day, you need to ensure that you really put in the work each and every day, you know. So it's all about being consistent, whether you're in and off season, you know, paying attention to the amount of sleep, paying attention to the amount of food, paying attention to your nutrition, you know, your recovery, and all these things, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not about like the whole concept of 70% nutrition, 30% gym, you know. It's all about ensuring that you give 100% in all aspects of the sport. So I think if there's one thing that I would say to the youngsters coming up is that please be patient with your parents. They come from a background where bodybuilding was never a sport,
That's
you know.
important.
And for me personally, I had trouble with my mom trying to understand the sport. Everything they saw, they were just seeing just a waste of money and food into something, you know. So you're gonna have to be really patient with your parents and allow them to actually see you grow within the sport. You know, whether you get support or no support from them, understand that they grew up in a generation where these things were never exposed to them, and it's a little bit difficult for parents to support us in that sense. So for me personally, I think the one thing that kept me going was that each and every time I went out there, I understood one thing is that no one is competition. We're just basically brothers who share the same goal and aspiration. And the one thing that helped me was that if I saw someone who had a big muscle group, let's say big legs, I'll go out to them and ask to train with them that particular muscle group to learn something new. If someone has a big back, I go out there, you know. And also one important thing is that even if when it comes to businesses and finances, you need to find people that are actually doing well and ask to have coffee with them, and you will be inspired by the things that you will learn out of their journey, and those things you can take them and implement them into your life, as well as the aspects of bodybuilding. So those are the little things that help me to stay ahead of the game. It's just trying as much as possible not to just learn from other bodybuilders, but learn from people from different industries. I've had the privilege of like being around different athletes, so it's all about creating an environment that allows you to strive, you know, and being really patient with the people around you, because not everyone will understand this journey.
Sure. Wow, that's quite some mouthful, Shem. That's quite some mouthful. There's one thing that I always hear people saying about you, especially about you. They always saying the quiet champ. It's like you do more of training and stuff. You don't talk a lot. You know, I won't say bad things about other athletes, of course, but other athletes out there, they talk a lot. You know, say stuff here and there. Why are you this champ? How did you manage this discipline to be so quiet but talking a lot with your works?
No, I think for me the biggest thing, like I've said, you know, it's like the sport was never about how can I put it, seeing other people as your enemies first. The sport, like I've said, it was for me seeing brothers within the sport, you know. And every time, you know, I walk into the gym, I have one objective. It is to beat myself first, you know, and ensure that I achieve my own goals and aspirations, you know. It's never about, you know, talking and saying you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, but it's all about ensuring that You put in the work, and let the results do the talking for you, And if there's one important thing that helps me is that I always remember one thing is that by a blink of an eye, everything can change in one moment. So you can't be rude to people. You can't disrespect people because we are all human beings, living in this one world, and we come from different backgrounds. And if anything, God has never given me this talent, to be superior than another person, but to mostly just inspire another person. So that's how I've always seen it. And for me, like I've said, it's just me and my body, and using that as a tool to inspire the people and not to cause any harm or talk bad about any other person.
Oh, great. Because already if people look at you, now the time we got in here, I saw how people looked at you already. They're thinking they're looking at a beast that is going to beat everybody around, but they don't know how much disciplined you are. That is quite interesting. And then your coach, you had a good relationship according to my analysis. According to you, what makes a good coach? Because you and your coach have been so good to each other. So that other coaches out there can learn, understand?
Yeah, no, I understand. No, I think, the biggest thing that Federico, my old man, has done for me is that I think being a good coach first has a lot to do with understanding the athlete, that he's a person first, and for him, he treats me like his son, and me being his son, he's always real with me, in the sense that if off season I start getting out of the route and I become fat, he will tell me I'm fat. He holds me accountable, and he knows that when I need to show up, I'll show up. Every one of the days, if you can imagine, Federico is in Kuwait, I'm in South Africa, but I still have to show up and do the work, and it's all because of the little things that he taught me when he was here, in the sense that for him, it's either you go in or you don't go in at all, and the one important things that even if whenever I'm really struggling through PEP and everything is really hard, I know that I have a coach that I can always reach out and be honest with him to say that, things are tough, this is what happened. And he has a good way of making me see the big picture, to say that, yes, you might be suffering right now, but at the end of the day, it's all about us moving in this particular direction, And I think good coaches are coaches that don't allow their athletes to do crash dieting. So we never do short preps. Our preps are always long, and that's why I've always grown from year to year. And because of we create a lifestyle, a long-term lifestyle, in that sense. And also, the one thing that is different is that good coaches, they don't just do copy and paste, meaning that giving the same methods to each and every athlete. With Federico, he has a specific plan for me, and then each and every time, even let's say in season or off season, I still train like an athlete. I don't just do hypertrophy training alone. I'll have a phase where I'm doing strength endurance. I'll have a phase where I'm doing strength. I'll have a phase where I'm doing power, So, he covers all aspects that the muscle has to understand. And that is one thing that has allowed me to grow, in the sense that we're not just training one method, we include all training methods within our periodization plan. Even now, post-show, I'm just doing a deload phase where I'm not training to failure. I'm just training, let's say, with 1 to 3 reps in reserve, So with that being said, it's because of we in this deload phase until we get the calendar, and then the calendar will be able to guide us what's the next phase, So it's that open relationship, I would say, that's making us different, to say we are honest with one another. And I think also with my background of sports science, my preps or whenever we do our checkings, it's never a one-way street where you have to do 1, 2, 3. We engage to say, okay, he would say, this is the plan. What do you think? Because of we try and analyze it from both ends, and then we agree to say, yes, this might not work or this might work.
Basically, it's not only him talking.
Yes.
He engages you as well.
Yeah. Right. So that I also understand why we're doing certain things, and I also give input to say, okay, this thing works with my body, or this thing makes me feel this way. And this way it helps him to even know my body even better. So it's never a one-way street, but it's a two-way street in that sense.
All right. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying a coach must tell you if you're looking fat.
Yeah.
Your coach must just tell you, you're a baby hippo right now. You're a baby elephant.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's just that, some coaches, they tend to put money first than the athlete, which is quite sad because of sometimes you see athletes stepping on stage and they know that the athletes are not ready, and at the end of the day, every athlete will still want to do well, which is they end up compromising their health, trying to get the look that they would want to get. But if everything is done appropriately with sufficient time, you would know. A coach that is honest with you will tell you that actually we are not ready for this show. Let's rather look into using it as a stepping stone for the next one, It's not every show that athletes that are coming up have to win. People have to understand that there are phases in this thing, in the sense that you have people who are bodybuilders, but they are still training to train. They still don't know how to train, And you have people who are in the sport that are training to participate, meaning that just stepping on stage for them, that's the goal, And then you have athletes then that are training to compete, who are training for the podium, and there are athletes who are training to win. So you need to understand what phase you are at, in this particular journey, whether you are training to train, training to participate, training to compete, or training to win. And if you understand those, then you will have a long-term understanding that actually my goals and aspirations, I need to align them this way, Even with my journey, me and my coach understood that I will only peak, post 30. Like this year I'm 31, and that's why we are only seeing the work that we have put on over these years, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, It's all about improving year to year and always identifying things that make you better, It's called bodybuilding and not body perfect. So each and every year, it's all about trying to improve and keep on building this beautiful physique that you have at the back of your mind.
Yeah, multiple, man. Yeah. I brought this point up because I've seen a lot of athletes out there changing coaches from one coach to another, and then at some point of time you hear an athlete talking bad about the other coach they left, and so forth. So that's why I brought this up, so that people can hear and learn exactly how a relationship of a coach and athlete should be like. Because you did say that your coach engages you as well. It's not about only him talking and saying do this, no. But he knows that your body is in it, so you know how you're feeling about something, and you have to also have an input. That is great, man. That's a great. I'm going to take your coach as well, Federico. I hope he sees this, and he's going to be proud. I'm sure he's proud of you already. So now, Chem, another thing I want you to help you people out there, which is how should an athlete manage their diet? Okay, let's talk first from development. Because you're a development, like I said. What can you advise the athletes, the development athletes, what to eat, how to eat, when to eat? Because it's that kind of information people need out.
No, as I've said, for me, when I started doing this, obviously my mom wasn't working, and really we had limited resources at home, and back then, if there's one thing that I did was try first find means of making money so that you are able to support yourself for the sport. You know, it's not about doing things that are crazy and out of this world. You know, like for me, when I got to varsity, literally what I've always ensured that I had was just rice, eggs, tin fish back then. If I'm lucky, I would have egg, you know, and what then I would ensure is that the basic things was that I have frequent meals at least 4 to 5 times a day, and then in each and every meal I would make sure that I have a minimum of 20 grams of protein. So with that being said, I knew back then that even fish, in 100 gram of fish, there's 15 grams of protein. In 100 gram of chicken, there's 20 grams of 20 to 22 grams of protein, you know. So with that being said, I started investing so much about learning what the food contains, you know. So I think as an upcoming athlete, if you can really invest yourself knowing what the food contains, it will help you make the right decisions for long term. Like if you know, let's say for example, 1 tablespoon of sugar, it's 15 grams of glucose, and 1 slice of bread has 15 grams of sugar as well. So which one would be the best to eat? I would eat a slice of bread, because of a slice of bread will keep me fuller for longer than to have sugar where I'm still gonna feel hungry, but I'm gonna push my calories even further, you know. So I think if you're a young athlete coming up, invest a lot in learning about the basic stuff of nutrition, in terms of like the food that is available to you, how much does it contain, and once you have those values, it's easier to create a lifestyle around that, because of like whether you are out with friends or whether you are out with mates, you would know that if I'm gonna have a Big Mac, you know, that's approximately 500 calories. So how do I go about ensuring that I still eat for my goal, whether I need to have a surplus of calories or, you know, I need to be on a negative energy balance when it comes to calories. So that's what I'm saying. If you can really invest in knowing what it's in the food, you know, it really empowers you as an athlete, because of like that's where the manipulation of the conditioning comes on. Because of everyone says, why is it that I'm constantly ensuring that I have good conditioning on stage? It's because of like understanding what's in the food, you know. Let's say on days where I'm struggling, I even call my coach, and then we will be able to say, okay, for this particular day, we can increase the carbs. I would increase my carbs. We try as much as possible to listen to my body, you know, to say, okay, I'm feeling weak. And you need to be really precise in terms of like understanding your body, you know, like after eating, don't eat like and rush to finish the meal, but eat and try to listen to your body, because at the end of the day, that's the information that will help you improve, you know. Because of, let's say, even if when off season, I know that if I eat certain things, a certain particular meal will treat me well, but the other one will give me heartburn, will give me that, and then you start making the right choices and you create an environment where your body can really grow. So it's all about understanding like the little things about yourself, and you don't have to really spend so much on diet, like buying salmons and expensive stuff, you know. You can still stick with the basic stuff. Like for me, even with this prep, you know, we had a crisis of eggs in South Africa. I didn't go out there to Woolies and buy like your egg whites, the pasteurized egg whites and stuff. I was just cooking chicken and eating chicken from breakfast till dinner, you know, with rice. Like it was that simple. My prep is simple in the sense that I only had chicken and rice, and the only thing we did was just to carb cycle, you know, and I only used basmati rice. I wasn't cooking oats. I just only had chicken, rice, and veggies. That's what I was dealing with, and basic stuff, and what I was also using in terms of fats was then extra virgin olive oil. That's all, you know. So if you think about it, if you buy yourself basmati rice, it costs you 150 rand for 5 kgs. I buy my chicken at macro, and for let's say what's this? They sell them at 2.7 Ks. Two of them it's 350. So I make sure like two of them they last me 5 days. I know 350 it's for 5 days, and then 5 kg of basmati rice will last me about 2 weeks. And like I just buy veggies at what's this, evergreen, you know. So my budget really for prep, it's not in the 10,000s.
So evergreen, I'm going to check them as well. Basmati, all those. This is what the champ is using.
You know,
they need to sponsor the champ now. The champ is spending there. So basically, it's the basics.
Yeah, it's the
that are
basics.
most important.
Yeah, like it's the basics. Like, you know, one gentleman I forgot, like once sent me a clip. You know, one guy was saying that if you want something really bad, you need to give yourself less. You know, in the sense that if you have the basics, you don't have to test yourself how disciplined you are by buying stuff that you don't have to eat on prep. You know, so if you're on prep, buy the things that you really need, and then ensure that the stuff that you don't need, you don't have to have it in the house, because of you put yourself in a situation where it's easy to fail. You know, so that's why, like in my house, you'll only have chicken, beef. Beef is on days whenever my coach will say you can have beef.
So how do you accommodate visitors?
Visitors that come through that are not bodybuilders, I'll have to order for them. You know, so it's that simple. But I try as much as possible to ensure that I keep less stuff available at home, and it's quite simple because of that. Whenever you get home after a hard session, if you think about cheating, there's nothing really that you know, and the best thing to do is just to, whenever you're hungry, you just have a cup of coffee and you push time and you sleep, you know. So those are the little things.
So Champ, you are a family man, you've got a wife.
Yeah.
So how did you engage your wife in this? Because your wife is not a bodybuilder as you are.
Yeah.
So how did you make her understand until now she copes with your lifestyle, your food and all that? Obviously she's not eating what you're eating. Unless maybe you put that.
No. So I think, you know, with that part of my life, you know, that's why they say he who finds a wife finds a good thing and finds favor from the Lord. I think it's quite true in the sense that I'm quite fortunate enough to have a partner that is quite really understanding. So, like, just to break it down, you know, my wife, each and every day whenever I wake up, my meals are prepped, you know, by her. She wakes up before me, and she knows that, okay, each and every time I do weekly check-ins with my coach, he will tell me, okay, for the next 5 days, this is what you're doing. I'll write everything down, and then I will give it to my wife. She knows how to measure the food, how to, because of like how Federico will want us to do things, and she does that for me. I don't have to worry about prepping meals, which I'm quite fortunate. And when we first met, you know, she was laughing at me at the fact that I just took chicken and then I put the whole thing in the oven. I didn't put any shit on top of it, you know. And for her, she tries as much as possible to ensure that I enjoy the diet so that I don't crave any things. So she cooks my meals to still be clean enough but to be enjoyable. So I'm quite grateful for that. And then in terms of like days where things are really, really hard, you know, she's quite supportive. We try as much as possible, like, to do things that are within my how can I put it, like within my zone. So our socials will be anything intimate enough that we are mostly engaging with one another, and because of she understands that I can't be out there adding more calories, you know. So we do a lot of picnic type of things, and we do a lot of theme parks, you know, movies and all these things, just to create and keep our bond. And then when it comes to making time for one another, we prefer like game reserves and all these things, just to be closer to the nature, where I can still have control of what I put in my mouth, you know. And we try as much as possible to be in an environment that is supportive of the output, you know. And one thing I'm grateful for is that when she came into my life, she said to me, she understands that I'm a bodybuilder, and she will never put me in any situation that will make me choose between her and bodybuilding.
Wow.
So it's someone that really puts my goals and aspiration as So with that being said, every time, every prep, when I ask her why she keeps doing why she's doing, and she always says that she wants to see me achieve like the wildest goals that I have, and I'm quite fortunate enough to have her as my wife, and I'm quite grateful that I've met a person like her, because not everyone else can be that supportive,
for sure.
and not everyone else can be, understanding of the lifestyle that we have to live, especially that it's quite rigid, and there's not so much. For some people, they feel that there's not so much fun, but for us, I feel that I'm quite lucky in the sense that I have someone that enjoys my company, and I enjoy her company. We can be in one room not talking, one person working and doing the other thing, but we still enjoy one another's company. So it's that great.
So she actually understood that bodybuilding is your first wife.
Yeah, no, as I've said, we met in varsity, and we were friends for a while, and she actually saw me grow year in, year out, and we met 2010, but we started being together 2016. So so it was one of those things. And when I asked her back then that all these years, whenever I tried to approach her, why didn't she accept me or take my proposal, she's always said that I've always seemed as if I'm a kid that was quite disciplined, and she didn't want to be a disruptive force in my life, So ever since back then, like for me, even at school, I understood one thing, that on my plate I can only have two things, meaning that I can either have social life in school, all right, or I can have school and bodybuilding, or I can have, social life and bodybuilding. I couldn't have three things, Even right now, it's like that. It's two things on the plate, which is my bodybuilding and my career, So I don't really have much of a social life besides the time I spend with my wife.
Wow, that's great. I have met her. She's quite decent. Actually, I think both of you are a match from heaven, let me say, because both of you are decent. And Chem, then now, how do you jungle in? Because you are a coach, Kaizer Chiefs, sports and strength and conditioning coach. So how do you jungle in now? Because these are now two
different
spheres. That is soccer and bodybuilding. So how do you jungle in these two together?
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, this is one thing that I really love about my life, is that when it comes to bodybuilding, it's bodybuilding, It's an aspect of my life, I don't mix soccer with bodybuilding. You will never even find any of the soccer players I've worked with that said I've used a bodybuilding method on them, that's the importance of me having Federico in my life, because of when it comes to bodybuilding, everything strictly comes from his side. Like I've said, we just engage and confirm whether we feel the same way about the plan. And then when it comes to my career, every day I'm studying football and ensuring that I produce the athletes that can perform maximally for the club. And the one thing that I appreciate mostly about the team sport is that you have 11 players on the field that must come together and produce one objective. But when it comes to bodybuilding, it's just one individual, that needs to put in the work and achieve one objective. So with that being said, it's two different spheres of sports. And one thing I would say that I actually love it whenever coaches come into my life, like football coaches, thinking that I don't know football. That's even a more motivational factor to prove you wrong. So I was always, let's say, top of my class, even when I was in tax, like I missed getting, let's say, a cum laude by 0.6% for my degree. You know, I studied all the way to my master's because of like, for me, whenever someone judges me because of how big I am, I always make sure that I actually produce the most for them when it comes to the sport. So it's always a nice challenge. And for me, I always love it whenever people undermine me because of they think I'm just a bodybuilder who doesn't know anything. And that's why, for example, I've studied all the way till my master's, and I want to do my PhD to show people that bodybuilders are not just.
You went overseas.
Yeah,
Was it Germany? What was it?
I went to Germany to to further my studies a bit in strength and conditioning. You know, even in Germany, I passed with distinction because of like the very same thing where lecturers were thinking, okay, what does a bodybuilder know about football? And you really show them this is what you know. So I always find it like as a motivation. So for me, in all honesty, I want to do my PhD to show people that, you know, we as bodybuilders, we are capable as much to climb the bodybuilding ladder as well as the academic ladder and still have the greatest careers that we could dream of. You know, people tend to wonder why I work for Kaizer Chiefs, which is a big brand. You know, I'm there on merit and not because of favors. You know, so at the end of the day, I know that each and every day my head is on the block because of I work for a big brand and I have to produce result, which is the one important motivation for each and every day. I know that I wake up with a huge responsibility on my shoulders, and that makes my life even more precious. So I'm quite grateful for the opportunities that I've been given in my life because of like I got them because of merit, like I've said, and not because of favors. You know,
for sure. Yeah, I've seen you on stage. Because partly we work together anyway. FMB Stadium. I'm Men in Black wearing my suit, and you are there. And I always see how you do and how you react. You know, so how do you engage with the soccer players at emotional level? Because you are not that person that talks a lot.
No, like basically, like I've said, when I'm on the pitch, bro, like I have a different voice and a different personality because of like we need to be we need to help players to be more coachable in a way and be able to build a good rapport with them, you know. So with players, I understand one thing, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So with players, it's all about showing them first that you care about them, and they will be able to fight for you and be able to implement what is required, you know, from a strength and conditioning perspective, and also the demands that we need to actually push on the pitch. So it's all about showing them first that you care about them as human beings first, and then afterwards, once you have won them, then it's easier for you to engage with them to say, okay, this type of training method produces this, and this relates to this part of your game. You understand? So once you create that link, then you get the buy-in, because if a player then understands that we are doing this in order for me to get this, you know. So it's a basic analogy of understanding them that each and every session, it's an investment that will get the, you know, the returns on the pitch. So it's all about creating that good rapport with you and your players, and then also ensuring that when it comes to the game, you know, we have so many variables. Like for example, we can be the fittest team on the pitch, but we can still lose the game, you know, because of like football has three main parts of it. It's the technical part, it's the physical part, as well as the tactical part. And each and every player has to be good in all three of those aspects, you know, in order for them to have a good chance of winning the game. So those are the things that we need to really consider, is that I form part of a puzzle. It's never science on top, but it's science on tap. So I'm there to support the coaches and ensure that each and every time we go out the pitch, you know, we have the best team that can be able to make the right decisions and ensure that in all three aspects of the game we are covered. So that's how it goes.
Wow, that's quite some knowledge. Hey, I'm actually learning a lot already in this interview. Okay, and then second of my last point was to ask, why are we not seeing you probably advertising yourself as a coach, bodybuilding coach and so forth? You having athletes that you're coaching, like other athletes.
Yeah,
you see,
no, understand.
pro athletes or not, we see them, they're already coaching and stuff like that.
No,
so can you
understand.
highlight us on that a bit?
All right, so at first for me, like, what's this? I used to help other individuals, all right, but it wasn't seen from a coaching perspective. I always told the guys that I'm just helping you to be able to be independent for the future, And then, however, with my whole transition to this big brand, which is Kaizer Chiefs, I really had to cut down on other aspects. Like, as I've said, I know myself that I don't want to do things for the sake of doing them, but I always ensure that whenever I do something for someone, it needs to be from within, from deep down in my heart. So that's why you don't see me posting anything about that. And then second of all, like, my contract doesn't allow me to do work outside that. Okay, so with that being said, currently, my main goal, as I've said, it is to first push my own goals and aspirations and inspire athletes through what I do. And then maybe long term, it's something that I can look to doing it as a form of me giving back to the society, Because for me, coaching, it's not necessarily about trying to milk money out of the athletes, but it's always about empowering athletes. Because of back then in the day when I started as a junior, backstage you had seniors that were always willing to help. The camaraderie that we had as athletes, it was always crazy. I remember even meeting like my highlights, like with Adupet and projects, like the old men who are in the sport. When I first came in, they literally took me as their sons, and they would advise me on how to train this, how to do that, There was never competition like we see what's happening backstage nowadays, Like athletes, you'll find athletes helping one another with 10, finding athletes helping one another with lays, finding athletes warming up with one another, in as much as we were in the same lineup and everyone was enjoying, So I feel I miss that part of SA bodybuilding. It's no longer there, but I hope in the future we can really understand that, we are all working towards the same goal. You depriving another athlete's information would never take you to the next level. But if you pull someone up, God pulls you up. So it's that simple.
Yeah, actually, that's the spirit I'm trying to bring back, of oneness. Because you are 31 now, but part of you is from the old school era, understand? Hence you're mentioning the legends. So you've got that wisdom from the old school. So partly as I'm doing development, I'm trying by all means to bring that spirit, because I've noticed it, that people are fighting each other even after stage. I'm like, no, guys, this is not how to do it. This sport, you're only on stage for a few minutes, and then it's how you carry yourself after stage that matters. So, okay, to wrap it up, champ, I just want this word to go out to all federations out there. I want you to give just a good word to federations, because we see how things are going on sometimes. Here and there, there's a tag of war, this and that. I just want you to advise, because athletes are just human beings, you understand? So this word I wanted to go to every athlete in whichever federation they are in. Just some good word from you.
No, like, what's this? For me personally, I would say, as athletes, we must understand that whatever we do on a day-to-day basis, it's either it's taking us to the podium or away from the podium. What I mean by that is that if you don't show up for your sessions, you understand that you're not going to place very well. If you're not following your diet, you're not going to place very well. It's all about doing the little things right and doing them to your best ability. And at the end of the day, like I've said, it's bodybuilding, it's not body perfect, you know.
Yes.
You need to be patient with yourself and be consistent enough. Understand that this sport takes time. I started 2008. You can, you know, like look at the years and really like analyze what it took for me to be where I am, you know. But at the end of the day, like I've said, you know, the most important thing is that don't ever for 1 second compromise your health for a trophy, one. And then secondly, you know, don't push away your family just to try achieve as much in the sport, because when it's all done, you know, there will be the people that are around you, you know. So always give time towards your family. And the lastly is that, you know, take good care of yourself in other aspects of your life, meaning that, you know, always prioritize you and your goals, as well as like the things that you want to see yourself doing. So with that being said, I'm out.
Wow, thank you so much, Tim. This has been a mouthful, and I'm sure people are going to enjoy this. And also the great part of this, because the Bodybuilding Mountain SA is going to YouTube, so you are going to be the first. The video is going to be the first one on YouTube.
No worries, brother.
We haven't put any video out there on YouTube. This is the first video on YouTube, so I think that is also something that is very great. So, ladies and gentlemen, the champion is going to give you a few poses. We're inside McDonald's, but I'm putting him in the corner. I've said it already. He can't say no. Just a few, double biceps. Show people something. You give people a show.
Now let's go outside. You can cut it. You'll reach.
Okay, we go outside. All right, cool.
I usually